Yes, anime was not a mistake. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. What is going on? Okay, so that beautiful scene on our preview video. Thank you again to Anime Impulse for the setup here. Again, folks, welcome to Relentless Weebs. This is your one-stop shop for all topics anime conventions. It's here where you learn about the kawaii philosophy. Your hosts, Shelby McWeeb, Andrew J. Landy. Shelby, how are we doing tonight?
We're doing great tonight, and we are here with the Rikachuuable.
Rikachuuable.
In the microphone.
You caught her in mid-chew.
I caught her mid-chew. Mid-chew.
Indeed. Welcome, Rikachuuable. Would you like a moment to finish what you're doing right now?
What are you eating with us tonight?
You left her completely speechless, and I love it.
We are here with famous fashionista, designer, model.
That's right. Yes, model.
Rikachuuable.
Mm-hmm.
Rika.
Hi.
We need a moment. We need a moment for Rikachuuable to gather herself.
Twix.
Yes.
You're not you and you're hungry.
Exactly. So, folks, again, make sure you've shared out the stream. Let your friends know that you're in here. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. Let them know. Sit your best friend down. Go fight your worst rival. And then once you beat them to a bloody pulp, sit them down on the couch. Give them a tasty beverage. And let's go and talk about some anime conventions right now. Again, folks, do give a big shout out to Anime Impulse. Give them a follow at Anime Impulse as well. Thank you again for hosting us here. And of course, let us know that you're in the chat. I see a lot of you already in here. Terrence Pryor, Norman Locke, Kazuki Blue, Ivory Eyes Han, Antonio DeCoster, Dustin Joseph Azure, and Amin Abedin. They're all in here right now. Hello to each and every one of you. Let us know what's going on. And of course, this is a show about interactivity, so we want to hear from you guys about the topics that we are talking about as well. Speaking of which, our topic for this evening. Now, I know that we've got a huge weekend planned ahead. There's a lot of events going on.
There's a lot of conventions going on this weekend. Also, Coachella.
Oh my gosh! So when you've got a lot of big events going on, sometimes you're gonna need a little bit of quiche in order to get through that. You're gonna have to figure out how to spend your money wisely, and a lot of times that doesn't really go according to plan. Isn't that right, lovely panel?
Why did we pick this topic? It's too late for us now. Our topic tonight, is budgeting at cons and con shopaholics, a.k.a. us.
Whoa, what? I am not a part of this.
This is Shopaholics Anonymous.
This is
Welcome to our cast.
Okay.
This episode is how we're going to talk to it. We're going to talk to you specifically about money and the convention community and how we spend it, how we don't spend it, and how we should be spending it.
I can guarantee that. I'm not even going to get into that point at this point. Right. It's almost too embarrassing.
You can guarantee that our mistakes are still mistakes, and that we're going to continue making mistakes because.
Yeah, we're telling you
what life is.
We're telling you what not to do here. But also, if anybody does have any questions about certain budgeting tips and what not to do or what to do, what to look for, and even like some of the cool things that you can find at a convention, we'll also talk about that there too. So we'd love to hear your stories as well about budgeting. And of course, again, your reactions to what we're talking about tonight in terms of, hey, how do you spend your money at your conventions? So we're already getting one comment here. Dustin Joseph Azure says water. $20. I'm guessing it's like maybe one of those like big giant flats. Data actually at a convention. If you don't have unlimited data or if you can't find Wi-Fi, $10. Hotel. Oh. This is actually like really itemized. Hotel, $250 for a hotel. Prepared. Very good. Okamoto Kitchen, $3,600. That's surprisingly very low. I'm not gonna lie. And dealer's hall, $150. So Dustin is saying, someone who is good at the economy, please help me budget this. My family is dying. Okay.
That's a good copy. That's a good format for memes. Good throwback.
Okay.
Meme. Okay, cool.
Okay, so.
All right, so your family's dying. We can't help you, but we can talk about our experiences with conventions.
Indeed.
So how did you guys budget at your first convention each? Andy, go first.
Okay, so first convention. So we're talking Anime Expo 2005. First of all, I was making less than minimum wage.
In Long Beach.
No. This was before Long Beach.
The convention was in Long Beach. Oh, no, I'm wrong.
So this was back when, excuse me as I hit the microphone. This was back when Anime Expo was still in Anaheim. And I think I had enough money to cover hotel, because like we stuffed the hotel, obviously, because we were, teenagers and whatnot.
Budgeting tip number one.
Yeah, so budgeting tip. So obviously, and this is before I actually was working for a convention, so I paid for my badge as well. So I bought my badge as a birthday gift. So that was already like 60 down, not down the drain, but 60 for down the drain. We stopped at the hotel, so it was like 50 for my hotel, and then I think I survived on like $100 more for like cheap food, which we found around because going to McDonald's on a dollar menu was one thing, and yeah, I think I survived that convention on $200 alone. I don't know how.
$200 for 4 days at Anime Expo?
It was 4 days at Anime Expo, and
2005.
Yes, this was 2005. Back when things weren't completely crazy. It was smart.
Crazy good.
Anyway, crazy good. So one of the things I really focused on was, and I do this every time there's a convention, is always locate where the inexpensive food is. So around that Anaheim area, and now it's a little harder, but there's a Denny's. Like one thing I've always noticed, there's always a Denny's nearby every convention I've ever been to.
That's because you don't go to Denny's, you end up at Denny's.
This is very true. This is also very true. But one of the things that really helped me was figure out where the cheap food is. There happened to be a McDonald's down the street. So unfortunately, I was stuck at that McDonald's more often than I would have liked. But hey.
You and every other weeb, though.
Exactly.
The line is always
exactly.
The fast food places near every convention. The line's always.
Oh my gosh. Yes. By the way, Donovan Chang is responding to Dustin in the regarding how to help his family. Simple solution: get rid of the family. Anime is the only family you need.
Okamoto Kitchen's also the only family that you need.
Exactly. Shout outs to Okamoto, by the way, purveyor of excellent food and also a source of great modeling. Isn't that right, Rikachuuable?
I guess only you guys are models for
Wait, what?
I didn't say only. Okay,
wait, what? Wait, backtrack. What did you say?
Nothing.
It was a great. Okamoto Kitchen has a lot of great models in their portfolio.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were talking about the food, and then you asked me, and I was just like, is this another Vor joke?
Moving on.
Another Vor joke. What happened earlier?
Moving on. Oh my God. By the way, I do see a couple of others who have just joined in. Dale Kim, Josh Cruz, Sean Chong Umeda have joined in. Luke Palmer as well, and Lamar Harris, who says your mom is a Denny's. So thanks for that. Much appreciated.
That's a broad accusation.
By the way, Kazuki Blue also giving one not really recommended tip, but sneaking in saves money. But
yes, because this is a movie theater, Kaz. You sneak in everything, okay?
By the way,
even your children.
So we're going to talk about terminology for budgeting.
Yes.
Sneaking into a con. We're not saying we condone it or we do it ourselves.
But
the term for I don't sneak into cons. But the term for sneaking into conventions is called ghosting. Ghosting
yes.
a con.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something some people do to if their budget doesn't work into the badge.
No.
That's a terminology. If you're new to conventions, that's called ghosting, is when you sneak into a con.
Well, it's you sneak in or you hang around the areas that are not patrolled by or considered convention property.
Yeah.
And you kind of you stay in those areas to see friends. It's
You
not
loiter.
exactly something we condone here, but it has happened in the past.
I mean, it might seem like, if you're new to the convention scene, ghosting might seem like a wild concept. Like, I can't even get to the inner parts of, like, the Anaheim Convention Center. Well, newsflash, before they had these, like, check-in spaces and they started, like, blocking off everything, it was like they didn't check it until you were trying to get into the exhibition hall.
This is
so
true.
Everyone was just like, actually, I'm going to go pick up my badge. And then the next thing you know, they're inside the bathroom changing into their cosplay. I will say that because the amount of times I've seen it happen.
Okay, very good.
No, like my friend yesterday sent me a video of themselves like with an Anime Expo guest in like 2015, and the guest is like in a room, like they're in a lounge, they're in a room. I think they're in a panel or something, and it's crazy to think about because like at conventions, I can't even go to the bathroom without scanning my badge. But like 3 years ago, people were just hanging out with the guest, if that makes sense. Like it's crazy to think about how everything has like gone since in the past couple of years.
Indeed, yes. One thing though that Lamar Harris does bring up in the chat, legit, it does make it harder for security to keep people safe if you ghost. So when you're thinking about your budgets for your conventions, folks, if you have not found a way to score a complimentary badge, like if you're not staffing or anything, if you are paying for your badge, do factor that into how much you are spending for this convention. That's like one of the cardinal rules, in my opinion, that you need to remember is that your badges do cost money, and these badges, they do help fund what the convention is trying to put on. And
guests.
Yeah. So yes,
staff,
guests, exactly.
Venue, security, stuff like that.
There are other ways though, like to keep your budgets low. For example, Jeff Lee Trin, who is also in the chat, hello, says, classic con survival food, cup of noodles and Pocky. Let's talk about that, actually. So
Okay.
I did say I ate at McDonald's. I'm lucky enough that I haven't really done the cup of noodles. I did it like once or twice, but I've been fortunate enough not to. But convention diets and keeping yourself fed at a convention without breaking the bank.
I'll talk about budgeting a little bit with food at conventions, because one major thing is sometimes if you go out of state to a convention, like Oregon, or Washington, or Maryland, sometimes if you're going out of state to a convention, you sometimes want to try the food in the area because it's your first time in that state or that city.
Yes.
So you kind of want to like do stuff. And everyone knows about the Yard House thing at Anime Expo.
Rikachuuable, just out of curiosity, during Expo, how many times have you gone to Yard House, if ever? Do you avoid it completely, or
What?
Have you been to Yard House before?
Yard House at
What
a?
is that?
Wow, interesting. Okay.
It's a restaurant near the convention center.
Nope, I've never been.
So
Yeah.
what do you like to do? Like, how do you like to eat during conventions?
Absolutely silence. This is like deep thought, actually. Believe it or not.
Before actually, all my money would go, not all of my money, but like most of the money that I would use for food was, if I'm not eating at the food trucks, it would be like little snacks and stuff.
Okay.
So I would I would snack throughout conventions.
Okay.
But that's also because I lived locally to most of my
Okay.
It wasn't until I got older that I was able to like do more
Travel around more, yeah.
movement.
Okay. Right on. I see Brianna DeCosta, what's going on, and Rob Armadas, what's going on in here as well. Lamar Harris chiming in also on the food thing, saying sandwich meat, bread, and mustard will survive 3 days of a con. Thoughts on that?
I've packed a lunch before for a con, and I really I was like, but then I realized like halfway through I was really happy that I packed a lunch, especially for Anime Expo.
Okay.
Since the food, different conventions, if it's a local con, I like to pack a lunch because it saves me a lot of money because I do end up spending it in the dealer's hall.
Okay, right on.
What are some of the things you guys have bought in the dealer's hall? Things you're ashamed of or things you're proud of?
Oh,
I
geez.
won't judge.
Rika, you got to go first. You're going first. I went first last time, so you have to go
I wasn't
first.
even here last time.
No, as in like the last question, I went first, so therefore I'm going to pass it
Hey,
to
it's
you.
not my fault y'all cut me off.
Yeah.
So, do you want me to talk about Anime Expo, or do you want me to
Doesn't-
talk about my
Any
first
convention.
Any of them.
Any
Any of
convention.
them.
So, not my brightest of moments, but
I'll be the judge of that.
Right.
okay, time to get myself judged.
All right.
Anyways, so while I was still in high school and I was attending conventions, I would go to a lot of different booths. My favorite things to purchase were not actually figurines and stuff. I like to buy prints because I like to support the artists.
Right. Oh,
Even
it's
though I
great.
had nowhere to put them, I would just like put stack prints on top of
Right,
each
it's
other,
like
roll them
yeah.
up, put them in my closet, and be like, my job is done. And then fast forward to now, I buy a lot of clothes,
Okay.
which no one is surprised about.
Yeah, that's like, okay, yeah.
But I remember way back when I bought a lot of prints and sometimes buttons. Like I'll randomly find a button. I'm like, I don't remember buying this.
Yeah.
But you did.
When you start going to conventions, like, I need to represent the fact that I know many anime characters. I need to buy a button of all of their faces. How else will people know that I like that character unless I buy a button of them?
I used to do this weird thing when I was super big into cosplay. I'm not as much anymore, but that's just because of like work and life. It sucks life out of you sometimes.
Okay.
Anyway, I used to buy a print or some kind of product or merchandise item of every single character I would cosplay.
Okay.
Or
Okay.
of the guy or like the significant other, because I don't judge. I'm
That's
like, yeah, that's a great pair.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I would buy that, and I would be like, yes, this is me and my partner. And I'll just hold it around with me at the convention. Someone would be like, oh, I like your, when was it? When I did Nekopara as Chocola, I had a vanilla bag, the one where it's double-sided, and I don't remember. I think I spent like, I'm not going to say how much I spent.
Was it over $60?
I don't remember.
Was
I'm
it
gonna
a-
leave it at that because it's been a while. But anyways,
Yeah.
when someone was just like, "Oh, hey, who are you cosplaying?" It's like, as this girl in my bag, and they're like, "Oh, that's so cool." It's like, and this is my life.
Well played. Well played. Okay.
No, I definitely went through it. I know everyone, a lot of my friends who are cosplayers went through a phase of like, I'm cosplaying Sailor Moon today, so I'm going to buy a Sailor Moon button.
Right,
And then the
right.
next con, I'm like, I'm cosplaying Bulma from Dragon Ball Z, so I have to buy this Bulma print. And then it's like, and then once you make more money and get an adult job, it's like, well, I'm cosplaying Hanukkah from Love Live, so I have to buy this figure right now today.
Right. Right.
So yeah, that's definitely something I've done before. And when I first started going to conventions, figures just seemed like an off limit thing. Like my brain would block out the ability to buy figures. I'm like, you cannot start doing this. You cannot start doing this. But then when I got older and got like a real job, like an adult job, I started buying figures, and then it just slowly
started snowballing,
and snowballing until I bought like 2 really, really expensive figures once, and I haven't bought one since.
Okay.
Can I just drop the ball on the pathway into figures collecting?
Okay.
Like,
All right. Well, yeah.
so at the beginning
Yeah.
you buy prints.
Okay.
And then you start buying buttons because it's like, oh, I could carry this with me. And then you start getting keychains, and then you're like, yeah, this is good. This is okay.
Yeah.
Maybe in between there's like a lanyard, a t-shirt, some kind of thing in between.
You're 6 Eda bags in.
Yes, you're 6 Eda bags in. And then all of a sudden you're just like, instead of paying $39 for this figure keychain that I might lose on my bag because I lost the last one, and this is the second time I'm buying this in like double, so that would make 3 in total in my bank. I'm just gonna buy a figurine that's only $20 more.
It's a bargain. We're doing something
you have
good.
this.
You have this. No, it's so stupid. No, I don't mean to. No, I agree with you. Because then you have this. Like, you always start to, like, you're trying to save money. Because, like, and you're cosplaying, too. So you buy, like, I'm going to buy this green wig. Because if I cosplay this character, I'm going to save money. Because if I cosplay another character with the same green wig later, I'll be saving money. Even though I'm buying another $100 costume I'm going to make, I'm saving money. And I got to buy these $300 shoes because I can wear them twice.
Oh my god, if you're gonna go into
I'm an entrepreneur. I'm saving so much money with these $300.
If we're gonna go into the cosplay portion of budgeting, let us just talk about the insanity that is cosplay budgeting.
Oh,
so
gosh.
when you buy store-bought, it's great to an extent because you have people who have all types of different body types. Cosplay's for everyone. You kind of just, if you need to make your own cosplay, if you need to throw something together off the thrifted items, okay, do whatever you need to. And then you have people who buy the really expensive cosplays that are like $200, and that's not including shipping, and it's from overseas, and you're like, let me just dip my foot into there. Let me see how well that does. Oh, there's a 2-for-1 deal, and then free shipping if I'm over like $200 something. Yeah, that's saving money. Negative $500 in your bank. And then on the other half of that is, I'm going to build my cosplay from scratch because so-and-so on Instagram made that look so easy.
And I'll save money because it's $200 to buy the costume, but if I make it, it'll be $200, but then I'll have the materials for another cosplay I'll make later.
And then you never use the cosplay stuff that you make later, that you're ideally trying to make later, because you're just like, oh man, I don't have time, life just happened, and then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, I have a closet full of fabric that I don't know what to do. And actually, I realize I'm not that good at sewing. I'm not speaking from experience, but I see my friends.
She's good at sewing.
Thank you.
She's good at sewing. She's a designer.
Anyways, you have all kinds of things when it comes to cosplay, and then oh my gosh, and then you have your friends who are like, oh hey, yeah, I just bought a 3D printer, and you're just like, the numbers meme with that woman.
Oh, yes.
just calculations popping up out of nowhere, and then stress, sweat drops because so and so just got like a laser thing, and you're like, wow.
When you try to budget though for cosplay, it's extra hard because your friend will be like, I need to buy a sewing machine for cosplay, so I bought a sewing machine for $40. And mentally, you know that 2 months later, your friend's going to realize they can't use a $40 sewing machine, so they're going to buy a $200 sewing machine later, and then they're not going to use it 2 years later.
Or they were like, oh my gosh, I'm just going to buy this sewing machine, and I'm going to learn how to use it, and then fast forward, till this day, you're afraid of your sewing machine.
And it's just going to sit there.
It's hard to thread. Don't feel bad if you never learned how to thread your sewing machine.
It is.
Sorry, we took 5, so we went step, 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 step.
Is
Well,
this
there's so many different aspects to budgeting.
Yeah.
there's a lot that you have to think about when you budget for a convention, especially if you are a cosplayer. Like, especially for example, I myself, like, I have no ability to sew or craft whatsoever. My hands were not made to create and craft; they were made to break things. So that's why I usually look for people to help out who want to take commissions, and as a result, make sure that I have the money stored away, or at least I will have the money stored away. So if I'm going to do a cosplay, that I can definitely fund it, and usually I overshoot by about $100 or $200. Thankfully, I have a job that helps me do that, but it's not as easy. It's not as easy for a lot of others who don't have that luxury. That's one thing that I'm afforded nowadays because I've worked towards it. But for some of the others, again, I look back at some of the food hacks that you have when you go into the conventions, like is that Kayla Layton or Kayla Layton?
Kayla Layton.
I like I said, somebody's name gets butchered during every stream, so congratulations, Kayla. Yeah, yours was there. Slim Jims and granola bars, the way to go. Then you can snack on the go, and they're filling snacks. Also, Dustin, in regards to like waifus and buying figures, saying that's why I'm glad Ronka merch is so rare. One waifu for lifu saves money. So
That's fair.
one way to save money is only focus on one waifu, as painful as that might be. Andres Cervantes, Peter, no, are in the chat here. Norman Locke saying money no object when it comes to waifu.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Bold statement.
Jeff Lee Trin bringing up an interesting point. All about that Patreon lewd money, my dudes. Okay. One of the ways nowadays that cosplayers have funded their projects, whether it be for conventions or offshoot things or whatever, is in fact Patreon. And whether it's lewds or not, that's definitely another way. If you want to go down that road, again, that's completely your choice. That's one way to do it too. So anyway, before we continue, do want to give a huge shout out to, again, Anime Impulse. Thank you for hosting us here. You guys are watching Relentless Weebs, to show where we talk about everything anime conventions, convention culture, everything of that sort. Your host, Shelby McWeeb, Andrew J. Alandi, our guest host for the evening. Give it up, ladies and gentlemen, Rikachuuable. Yes.
Convention goer extraordinaire.
Yes. So one plug before we continue on. Again, folks, you heard that this weekend is huge. There's a lot of big events going on. One event that I got to give a huge shout out to, Yaoi Expo, happening April 19th through 21st. That is at the
This weekend.
Yeah, that's exactly this weekend. That's at the Los Angeles Burbank Marriott. That's right by the Burbank Airport. Tickets are still on sale. Visit yaoi-expo.com for tickets and or more info as well. I might be there in a very professional capacity. I'm actually one of the hosts for the convention, so
He says professional and yaoi in the same sentence.
I can get away with it. I can get away with it.
You are a professional yaoi MC, finally.
Yes.
After all these years.
That's what my acting training went for. I'm
So
not gonna lie.
what can we see you what will we see you MCing this weekend at Yaoi Expo?
There will be some weird events there. I'm not going to lie. I don't even know half of what I'm emceeing, but we'll say this. If you want to see what's going on, you got to be there at Yaoi Expo. So again, folks, yaoi-expo.com for tickets and more information. There's a lot of great guests going on there. It's going to be a great weekend. It'll feel a little more like the old school style conventions where it's, people hanging out. Of course, there will be security there, but hey, it's a great time. So you guys should join us up for that.
A weekend of safe debauchery. Who doesn't need that?
Yeah.
Especially during Easter weekend.
I was about to say it is during Easter weekend. God, my parents are going to kill me. Anyway, so back to our topic
Speaking
on
of
hand.
parents killing you, spending money during anime conventions.
Nicely done, not going to lie. As these two shared a secret without me, I'm not going to lie. I'm a little mad about that, but it doesn't matter. Yes.
You want me to tell you?
What was it? Out of curiosity.
So Shelby said, when are you going to be emceeing? And I said, Andrew's going to be the guy that says, swipe or no swiping. At the Yaoi convention.
Okay. Yikes. Okay, so yes. By the way, Norman, yes, Uranus will be featured there. There'll be. I'm definitely. I'm pretty positive there'll be some Uranus there at Yaoi Expo. Dustin chiming in the chat. Here's a modern bit of saving money. Don't join Mobage summoning circles. If you see a bunch of people in a giant circle trying to summon in Fate Grand Order or Grand Blue Fantasy, just say no.
Or Love Live.
Or Love Live. Okay, so, but that's a double-edged sword, though. Because, I'm looking, if I'm a gamer, especially if I'm playing something like Fate Grand Order, which I play incessantly, I play free, though. You get together
Play free.
and you... Shut up. you get together and you get to meet a bunch of different people, and you know, do you ever get you ever get overwhelmed, like, oh, it's sort of like that group think where everybody's doing it, so kind of like it's not actual like direct peer pressure, but it's like that everyone's doing it.
Another terminology is whaling. It's called whaling when you spend real money, physical money on gacha games like Love Live, Grand Blue Fantasy, and Fake Red Order.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Okay.
Moving forward.
Yes.
So you can or you can't. I have spent money. I've spent money. I've whaled before to get my waifus, and I don't regret it. But I've definitely. I have done a lot of things because when you first start out at conventions, you try to save a lot of money, especially with food. I remember in college, I went to my first real overnight anime convention, and my friends and I were at the dining hall, and we didn't know what to do. So she filled one of those, those free drawstring bags, those plastic ones. She filled one with Fruit Loops and just assumed that would feed us the entire weekend.
When I say snacking gets you by, it gets you by. Unless you go to Anime Impulse. And then you pull me and you spend like 95% of your money on the food because Anime Impulse, one ticket gets you to all of the events there. So, sucks to suck. You're going to not have a wallet, but your stomach will be full.
Anime Impulse is a great example because it is, there are a bunch of like food stalls and food stands, and there's some food I wait once a year to eat because I get the chance to at Anime Impulse. So I definitely leave a food budget for Anime Impulse.
I kind of like Anime Impulse a lot because when I first went, that hurt. When I first went,
yes,
it was like going to a night market and also going to an anime convention, and then at the same time you go into another building and voila, I'm getting freebies for like makeup and stuff, and I'm just like, I have everything I absolutely need.
Yeah.
And then I go back to Anime Impulse and I'm just like, I'm gonna have 9 different fans, like the summer fans, the ones that you should just like throw in when you cook.
We all just fanned ourselves, yes.
Yeah, and it's, yes, okay, you need that many fans because it's hot as frick during Anime Expo, but at the same time, I'm just like, can I have some like nice freebies, like a button, something cute?
Yeah.
So,
I've gotten toothbrushes at Anime Impulse before.
Which is necessary, actually. That's
or
be real.
like balloons or like random like inflatables, and I'm just like, yo, that's everything I want, everything I needed. And then fast forward back to Anime Expo, and I'm just like, wow, I'm gonna pay $15 so that I can have that.
Well, one of the big things that you can look for, a lot of conventions, medium-sized, smaller-sized ones do this, and even some of the big ones. If you're lucky enough, they'll have like what's called a con suite. Where you can actually get like snackage foods. You can get snackage foods, small things. It's not full-on sustenance. You're not going to get a full-on meal per se. Like, you're not looking to get like a burger, fries, and a drink there. But usually, more often than not, places like that, they'll end up serving small sandwiches, small bites. So that's a great way to stretch your dollar as well. If your con has a con suite, I know Anime Los Angeles was very popular with that. Their con suite. I used to work for their con suite actually as their doorman. And the lines of people who wanted to stretch that dollar and wanted to make sure they kept their budget as fresh as possible so they could have a little extra to spend on those awesome figures and, the prints that invariably lead to figures, because apparently prints are gateway drugs to figures. So that's one of the big things that I did was...
You heard it here first.
Yeah, was the con suite. So one of the things I'll recommend is look at the convention, and if they've got a website, see if they're in their information. If they got like a con suite, that's one of the great things you can use to, again, stretch your dollar and get a little further. So that's one of my helpful tips. Look for a con suite, if anything. Always the free food, but leave a little donation just in case. Give them a little help.
And I've gotten great freebies at like Anime Expo too.
Have you?
And then there's a great con suite at SawaCon in Vegas.
Okay.
That's a really good con. It's a great con to budget at too. But yeah, there's plenty of ways to save money. Parking is one thing we should probably talk about.
Oh, that's a very good
for
point.
Budgeting.
Yes, parking. Parking, the big problem for a lot of conventions. Some conventions, especially like the smaller ones, for example, Yaoi Expo being held at an airport or at the airport hotel. So it's really easy because it's all condensed into one area. But when you get to somewhere like Anime Expo, where it's just bleh, and convention parking can hike up to as much as like 30 to 40 per day.
Yeah.
So what?
And like Fanime too.
Yeah.
And if you're coming from out of state or traveling, you have to park. You have to pay for parking. So how do you guys save money on parking?
Well, I just don't go out of state.
That is fair. That's completely fair.
There's specific places that I go to when I'm in LA because LA parking is usually the worst. Whereas I feel a lot of the small cons I've been to, they either A, have complimentary parking, or B, they tell me some place that will like not kill my bank. At most, parking will be like $20, but I'll $20. That's fine. I'm just not gonna eat a sandwich at McDonald's. That's fine. I'm not gonna buy another print, my gateway drug. You know.
Yes. One thing I learned to do is if I'm nearby and if there's an adjacent neighborhood that's trustable, where I don't feel like, because I've had my car broken into before. One thing I will do is actually go. Yeah, I'll get to you in a second. I have done this before. I've actually parked my car like a couple of miles away from the convention, and actually Ubered over and Ubered back. I've done that. So Rikachuuable, however, has a counterpoint to that.
Be careful and read the signs.
Exactly.
I remember I had an argument with one of my friends because we pulled over into another place's neighborhood. Sorry.
Okay.
I was just like, street, sidewalk,
yeah.
No, neighborhood. There you go.
Neighborhood, yeah.
But what ended up happening was he was like, oh, well, it should be fine because like no one's gonna have problems. And I was like, no, this area is notorious for calling people to tow.
Oh,
and it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
you're not allowed to park here without a permit. And it's places like downtown Anaheim.
Yep.
You have some places in
Well, even some of the area
like Long Beach.
Yeah, Long Beach.
Yeah,
there's some areas.
Long Beach. It's very much like that too. Even if you do that in LA, it's like sometimes you can get away with it because the signs, there's like 9 different versions of them, or you can get away with it for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
But you don't want to exceed that because then your car is going to disappear and you're going to be like the sad cosplayer on the side of the street being, like, calling someone.
And now you got to spend an extra like 150, 160 at the very minimum to get your car out of impound. So great point, by the way.
Not good for budgeting.
Yeah.
Always read the signs. Ask people who are local when you're worried about parking. Like, make sure you're never going to be at fault for asking. It's better to ask and to learn than to be the person that has to know the hard way. Like, I'm not supposed to park there, and I know that because I spent $500 because my truck got towed, or I parked somewhere because I didn't read the signs that I didn't realize were there, even though it was right in front of my car. Like, just stuff like that. Okamoto Kitchen posted a great meme one time about like signs in LA.
Oh yeah. Oh god, that is so true. Let's see here. Robert Hemingway in the chat actually saying woke up and got to the parking lot at 5 a.m. every year for a convention just to park and make sure that they guaranteed a parking spot. Because, like, especially for Anime Expo, because people want to get there early, when, especially if there's a big exclusive that's being dropped, or they know they're going to spend their entire day there. But, getting there at 8 a.m., you're going to end up waiting in lines worse than the 405 freeway. So you want to get there at 5 a.m. So there are times where if you are going to park close to the convention, you have to make that sacrifice. But the good thing is if you park early, take a nap in your car while you're waiting. You never know.
Ooh, that's a good tip.
Yeah.
Or you can have breakfast.
Yeah, you could have breakfast.
How many of you go to a convention and are like, oh, have any of you eaten? And then the entire group just kind of looks at each other. Like, there's just nothing that can be said. Just like, I didn't eat because I spent 2 hours doing my makeup. I didn't eat because I was up getting parking. I didn't eat because I overslept. And then all of us just kind of like hold hands and are like, it's okay. There's always tomorrow. And then tomorrow never happens.
Tomorrow never happens.
Tomorrow never came.
You don't eat till Monday.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes that's how it is for people, and that's why we're having this conversation.
Yeah.
This is Shopaholics Anonymous coming to you live at Relentless Weebs.
So I'm going to talk about.
Oh, geez.
Thanks for the plug. I'm going to talk about some things about saving money, but also spending too much money. And that's on events. You can actually save a lot of money with passes by doing press, doing industry, or volunteering. And also, there's always buying the badge during pre-reg.
Yeah.
Like, because if you know you're going, buy it now. I know you're supposed to say, I'm not going to go to this con because blah, 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 blah. And then you end up going and you buy the ticket in line and it's $300.
Yeah.
Just buy it now. You know you're going to go. But I know people who have done, like, doing press, like, reach out to your local press outlet, see if you can do something for a con, or reach out to a press outlet in a different state and see if you can cover the con for them if you're not local to that outlet. And there's also volunteering, which is a great way for younger teens and everything to get hotel, to get tickets, and to get experience going to cons and learning about the inner workings of cons.
This is very true. Yeah, that's how I started. Actually, I started as a volunteer at conventions back in 2009. No, actually, no, 2007. Believe it or not, I didn't get a free hotel back then because I wasn't a full-on staff member. But 2007, first year I volunteered at Anime Expo because I was able to staff alongside some of the game shows guys there, and it invariably led me here to hosting Relentless Weebs and talking about all the war stories we have.
What an honor.
Right? So yeah, volunteering, one of the good ways. Staffing, just make sure, again, you know what you'll get into. Believe it or not, Dustin is saying next episode, time budgeting at cons. So time budgeting will be another topic we discuss for a future episode. So thank you for that. Ivory Eyes Han also saying, do note where there's free street parking. Free street parking is on Sundays and 4th of July during AX. Another good tip that Jeff Lee Tran is giving us here in the chat. If your hotel has a continental breakfast, got to take advantage of that at a hotel. You can get a bunch of food from the morning from the hotel and just deliver it to your sleeping roommates.
Just bring Tupperware the continental breakfast and you can eat all day.
Yeah. And
I've done that.
That's what we did at WinterCon.
Was it now? Oh dear.
Well, earlier you were like talking about the only eating cup noodle.
Yeah,
that was also me during WinterCon.
Okay.
Gotta save money where you gotta.
It is one thing. Even if it's still not like the best food, you've still got to stay fed. That's one thing, to make sure that you enjoy your con experience. Please eat. I know we want that figure. We want to get to that concert, and you want to use your money for it, to have the best experience. But you can't really have the best experience if you're not fed and you're not able. If you got something in your system,
you can try though. You're gonna try and have the best experience despite not being fed.
You could be me on my 21st birthday, not eat anything, and then get completely hammered because the guests there decided to feed you alcohol.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Especially not at convention. I'm going to get real serious here. Especially don't do that at conventions that it's either A, super packed with a lot of people.
Yeah.
B, you won't have good signal. Or
Right.
won't be around people that often because all your friends are going to different events or panels that you're not interested in. Or C, because the weather's just going to be terrible.
Yeah.
Because doing that kind of thing it's going to be what makes you faint. It's going to be what gets you just passed out on the side of the convention, and everyone's going to be like, "Who's this body? Does anyone know?" And then you can't call anyone. No one can contact anyone, and then you're just going to be the person that everyone's like.
Yeah,
you'll be that guy.
You're that story.
Like, oh, there's an ambulance. Oh,
It's you.
It's you this time.
Like
so always
the people on the stretchers like. Who is that? And then he's like, I know him! That's how it's on Instagram!
Put it on your live!
Right?
People are going to be streaming about you. You're going to end up on
Streaming
Twitch.
We'll talk about you on Relentless Weebs.
Yeah.
Every Tuesday at 7:30.
Nice plug. Good job. That was impressive. I wasn't even thinking about that. But yeah, it's a huge, very important point. Make sure if you're able to enjoy your convention, take care of yourself. But again, stay within your budget. Your budget should also be reflective of what you do to make sure that you have the best time possible. Now, I know we like to go all out, but sometimes you've got to make sure you're playing it smart. So do things such as Terrence Pryor says, I love going to cons as press, fun times, or Danny Leong says, pro tip, find a friend who's press and be their cameraman or camerawoman. That's a great option too. So
it is, but make sure you know how to use the camera.
Oh.
You cannot be that. You have to make sure that you are using the camera, using it right, staying with the press person, and doing a service. Earn that badge.
Earn the badge.
Yes. But I do recommend doing that and reaching out to someone who does press and being a cameraman because everyone needs a cameraman who does press.
Go.
The other alternative is, remember how we were talking about getting pre-sale?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who buy their badges and they're like, oh, I can't go anymore. What you can do if you missed it is you could just reach out to people. Hey, does anyone have a badge that they're selling? Or does anyone have something that I could it's better to get something at a discount than to be that person that has FOMO and you're like hating yourself and you have post-con depression even though you didn't go to the con.
Yeah.
That way you're also avoiding I'm gonna be that person that doesn't know how to use the camera equipment. I don't even know how to put a camera on a tripod.
Right.
And then you're gonna get your friend in trouble.
Okay. It seems like, yeah.
So
Oh, geez.
Sorry.
One thing I'd like to confess is one of the first times I actually got a credit card.
Uh-oh.
Because there's events that I like to go to. There's things that I don't want to miss out on. One of those being like concerts and musical events. And if I know there's one convention that I'm going to spend a lot of money on, I want to spend it gradually throughout the year, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So you can actually buy tickets to like Annie Song World Matsuri ahead of time. So I bought a lot. I tried to go to every single musical event at Anime Expo because FOMO.
Yeah.
I really
You gotta
like
hit
the
it. You
musical
gotta hit 'em all.
events.
Yeah, yeah.
I really like the musicians. I really love international guests, and I don't want to miss the ones I might not see again.
Right.
So I bought the tickets, and I tried to pay them off in like April.
Okay.
When they went live, if that makes sense, on my credit card.
Okay.
So that's one thing, is I like to spend it on events that I might not be able to do again. So that's one thing. Okay. And I've gone out of state to see different guests and go to different events too.
On that topic, they also have different things that can help you with that. So PayPal credit, it's not an actual credit card, but something that you really want to attend allows you to pay it in PayPal. With PayPal, you can use your PayPal credit as an option, and then just pay that. Especially if you're someone who can't like immediately get a credit card because you have to have credit cards.
Yeah. That's a slippery slope. Please be careful with that.
Just be careful. Know what your limits are and be realistic about it. Don't overshoot it. Don't lie about it, and don't lie to yourself about what you can handle.
Right.
And the other thing is that if you're like notorious for shopping and stuff, look into stuff that has Afterpay. If I don't know if any of you know about that, but Afterpay is something that a lot of people who use when they do fashion stuff.
Oh, okay.
Because it's one of those things where it gives you payments.
Oh, okay.
You do like 4 payments of like $19 or $38 depending on how much it is, and then you have the thing that you want. And but like we said, be realistic about it. Don't overshoot it. Don't shoot yourself in the foot. See, she sells by the seashore.
Shelby sells seashells by the seashore.
Yeah. Shelby. 2 L's.
One thing to know, like if a con is passed, like let's say Anime Los Angeles passed in January, you didn't get to go this year, but you'd really like to go next year. Don't be afraid. Start saving now. Now look at it this way: if you put away $5 just every week, you've got 52 weeks until the next, give or take, until the next Anime Los Angeles. $5 times 52 weeks, that's a little over $250 that you're saving, which is actually a darn good budget already for badge, even for chipping into hotel, staying with friends, and you've got a decent food budget there too. So one of the things, you can discipline yourself. It does take, and it's hard because discipline takes work, but that's one of the things you can look forward to is a greater goal in mind. Even something, it adds up. Just again, $5 every week. Stash it away. Don't touch it unless there's like a life-threatening emergency. But beyond that, it's those sorts of things that will help you invariably build a better budget for your convention. So let's see here. Jumping into the chat really quick. Oh, my buddy Aaron Shushan, one of my childhood friends, is actually in. He's wishing me well. Good to see you, buddy. Jeff Lee Trin. Tactical Con sleeping supplies. A foldable cot, sleeping bag, hotel sheets, and a pillow equal a very comfy solution where you can have an actual bed and can store items underneath the cot. Saved many lives and room at far cons with a cot. Keeps your luggage, armor, and props safe and out of the way of more space for sleeping weebs. So, okay, that's a giant saving tip. So make a small investment in a foldable cot / sleeping bag, and then you just take hotel sheets and a pillow if you're rooming with other people. That way you can save space. You have room for storage, and you're out of the way of other people that you might be sharing your room with. So that's one of the big things too. So I got a lot of good tips here. So folks, if you've been hearing us again, this episode of Relentless Weebs, this is one you want to save because there's actually a lot of good information here on how to make sure you get the most out of your convention experience and get the most out of your budget. So make sure.
Embarrassing confessions about what we've spent our money on.
Oh my God, I don't even know what I spent money on at this point. But one of the good things is that save this episode if you want a couple of tips on what to do when it comes time to that convention and how to budget. And of course, laughing at all the dumb purchases we made, like all the gateway drugs for prints and figures.
You bought a lot of swords.
I bought a lot of. Okay, I get it. Yes, I was gonna try and escape that, but yes, my big thing I don't do this anymore, but at conventions, my big purchase was always swords because I was that weeb. I was that guy. I was like, I want swords. I want katanas. First thing I bought in 2005 was a freaking katana because I was like, I have a katana now. Yeah. Yeah. And
The power of God and anime was on your side.
yeah, the power of God. Yeah. I trained with this katana, and lo and behold, there's like 7 more in my closet now, and they're all just gathering dust.
Thank you for being open about that, Andy. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. It's but you know, to be fair, some of them were for cosplay. Some of them were because I cosplayed Zoro from One Piece. Who needs swords? Thank you.
Continue.
But the good thing though is as of late, I notice now that I'm not fully, too invested in trying to buy figurines, thank God, or trying to buy the latest collectibles. So a lot of my budget, I know what I want. I want the experiences with friends, and luckily I haven't paid for a badge in years because I usually work every convention. So that's one of the things is that I've been able to tailor my experience to what I'm able to offer the convention scene, and also what I want to purchase, which is usually just food and booze. I'm not gonna lie.
You had something to say, Rika?
I totally forgot.
Got her! Yes! Oh, I'm the best! I'm the best! Oh, God. Okay, so...
oh, wait, no, I remember.
Okay.
Just to... it's not to say that you should splurge,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
on the other hand, all the money
You're
that
going
you're...
to.
Well,
Invariably.
all the money that you are using,
Mhm.
it does go to usually people that you want to support.
That is true. A
Yeah.
very
So
good point.
whether you want to support the official merchandise, licensing and whatever, you can go that route. If you want to support like indie artists, brands, whatever, in the artist alley
Yeah.
or smaller people in the exhibition
That's actually a
hall,
good
that's
point,
great
yeah.
too.
Small companies.
That's a great point. Yeah.
It's
That's absolutely fair.
if you're, but don't justify that.
That's not-
Don't use it as a means to justify, but just know that the money that you put in is money that will continue helping products
The
get put
community
out.
grow.
Yeah. You are a part of a community, and you're gonna help it grow.
Mm-hmm.
So Andy being like, "Oh yeah, my Zoro swords, shing shing," that did help someone.
It helped someone.
Yeah, it helped one of the bigger vendors.
It's not-
Sorry.
Shing shing.
I mean, but that's still an anime vendor.
It was an anime vendor.
as
and-
opposed to like big sword.
And I mean, if you think of it this
Yeah.
way,
This is true.
when you make purchases like that, you actually help the convention too. You help it flourish,
True.
and you help it
This is very
determine
true.
where it's going to go. You
Yeah.
help people who attend these conventions. Like you help people be able to get
Very good
guests
point.
and stuff
Very
like
good
that.
point. Yeah.
So on the other hand, we're not shaming anyone.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Because we all make bad decisions. I do clothes, Shelby does figures and whatever, and then he does booze and swords.
Anyway. Oh no, it's a very good point, and yeah, like again, do support support your scene basically. So,
One of the comments did say, support smaller cons, and I definitely
Yeah.
like, and I think to some degree, a lot of cons are small cons, even the middle ones, like the middle size ones, like a lot of conventions that are like, because some of the smaller states, the less populated states, have one convention a year, so they try and bring like international guests, make it a big show. It's like their Christmas. So definitely support the convention that's trying its hardest to
Indeed.
make a community in their state, in their city, and to do their best. And I think like especially conventions have brought life and an audience to a lot of international guests who normally wouldn't have a chance to appear in America.
Okay.
Fashion guests, musical guests, cosplay guests, voice actor guests, and production guests, all of those. And
Right.
I think it's really important to that economy exists, if that makes sense.
Okay. Right on. All right, so I know we are headed towards the end of our show. I know it's a little shorter stream where we are ending directly at 8:30. Do want to give everybody a big thank you for joining us here. We'll get into the ending specifics later. One thing, Danny Leong does have a question, and this is actually very pertinent. Do vendors still give discounts on the last days of conventions?
It depends.
Okay.
Depends.
Okay.
So if you don't know me, I usually work conventions these days. I don't really go there for a lot of leisure purposes.
Right.
I model, so I deal with a lot of fashion brands, and I work for people that sell trinkets and things. So it depends on who the company is and the intensity of like their level in the system, if that makes sense. Like, because there is like a hierarchy about who's there.
Yes.
Especially when you're in Artist Alley, you're gonna more than likely meet more people who will give discounts, but that's because people either A, they would rather like break even or be closer to being breaking even than having to like not make or like just be only in the red.
Okay.
So yes, for that.
Yes.
And then you'll have people who in exhibition hall are like, I just don't want to take everything home. 2 for 1.
Yeah, they want to get rid of inventory. So so I guess what we're saying here is one of the pro tips if you are shopping for things, last day of the con, not a bad decision. So
yeah, but be careful. Like it's not to say that it will always happen because when like for example, if I wanted to buy a garment that was $85, if it's a small group or a small like whoever, they're probably not going to give me like a $20 discount.
True.
Versus like someone who might do that with a body pillow.
Right.
But like the examples, not in stone.
Yeah. Again, the experience is just, it's up to you and what you the consumer, the convention goer is going to find. So you might get lucky, you might get not. Some vendors are willing, they're open to haggling as well. So it all depends on who you go to. If you present a good argument for it and you're personable about it, you never know. So it is up to you guys there. So, okay, so we're getting towards the end of our show again. I do see a couple of people that just joined in, Kate Corvus and Aldo Ramirez. Again, thank you so much for joining us here, folks. Again, if you have not already done so, make sure you've liked Bombshell Media and Relentless Weebs. That's where all the information is. That's where we're streaming from is Bombshell Media and Relentless Weebs. That's where our community is. That way you can meet up with some other Relentless Weebs and everybody who talks. We love meeting people, so let us know. Say hi to us in the group and over there. All right, folks, so we're headed towards the end of our show. Again, want to thank you all, each and every one of you, for joining us here at Relentless Weebs.
I'd like to do rapid fire really fast.
Uh-oh, okay.
So we can just establish, once and for all, the questions everyone wants to know. So
Okay.
I'm going to do this really fast.
Okay, fire.
Most you've ever had in a hotel room?
Wait, most I've ever had in a hotel room?
Yep.
8.
10.
0. I don't drink.
Hotel room.
Hotel room.
As in how many people?
You ever stayed in a hotel?
3.
Okay.
Nice. Most you've ever spent on merch?
Most I've ever spent on merch? $60.
$450.
Is that a single item?
Could be all together. Up to you.
I'm all together. I don't buy merch.
Altogether, maybe 400.
Okay.
Not in a single day though.
Okay. I'm not a merch guy. I don't know. Okay.
Most memorable purchase?
Most memorable purchase. Oh, God. Honestly, it's actually this little Iron Man shaker that I bought because it was in the height of my Iron Man-ness, and I was like, Iron Man shaker, and I was really happy about it. So,
I don't know.
Any clothes?
It's possible, yeah, right?
No, not really.
Not really?
I don't remember.
By the way, the chat's chiming in. Jeff Lee Tran had 14 people in his room. Robert Hemingway had 5 at the
I was in
most.
Jeff's room once.
Oh, geez. Okay. Any other rapid fires before we call it?
Mine was I got 3 figures because I got them all at a discount because he said it was cute.
See, sometimes natural advantages come into play. You never know.
Worst ripoff you've ever had with money?
Oh, it was a food vendor. It was probably like $13 for like a small little thing of fries. I'm very cheap at conventions. I don't get ripped off though. Yeah.
I don't know if this would count as a ripoff, but I paid $13 for it was like a moisturizer, and then instead they gave me a face mask. But I didn't know because they boxed it up and put it into like a really nice like little wrap. But I don't use like mud face masks. I ended up giving it away to someone because it's not me.
Okay. Cool.
I accidentally paid $40 for parking.
That's also a good point. Yeah, parking for huge rip offset points. Dustin Joseph saying I did 15 people at AX 2008. Okay, perfect. Gotcha. All right, folks. Is that the end of Rapid Round?
Yes.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that about wraps it up for our show. Again, we got to give each and every single one of you a huge amount of thanks. Again, this show is not possible without all of you lovely viewers and your comments as well. So, again, make sure you've liked Bombshell Media. That way you get the updates on when we go live. Again, it's usually every Tuesday at 7:30 Pacific time. Rikachuuable, where can the people follow you before we call it a night?
You can find me on Facebook and Instagram, but preferably my Instagram. I forget to update Facebook, so yeah, here we go.
All right. What's the Instagram?
It's at Rikachuuable. I'm kind of the only one with that.
Okay.
Because it's like,
if you're curious, it's actually right below her on the screen. It's on there. So if you look right there, there you go. Shelby.
You can follow me at Shelby McWeeb on Twitter, Instagram, and you can follow me at Bombshell Media on Facebook so you can watch us all the time, forever, and past episodes.
There you go.
Oh, that was great. Let me try again.
There it is. Screen cap that. And then, of course, my name is Andrew J. Alandi, the Ryan Seacrest of anime, apparently. You can follow me at Andrew J. Alandi on Instagram and Twitter. Love to meet all of you folks. Do say hi. Folks, this is Relentless Weebs. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week for another edition of the Kawaii Philosophy here at Relentless Weebs. Take care.
Spend wisely.